Good morning, beautiful people. Today we're going to be talking about the preliminary hearings for Chad and Lori Daybell. Of course, Chad Daybell's has already passed. It was on the 3rd and 4th of August. It was just about 2 complete business days of testimony. The witnesses range from the FBI, the local police departments, and Melanie Gibb, who was Lori's best friend at the time that Lori took up with Chad Daybell and started to have an extramarital affair. Some would say that this case is based on religion gone wrong. And I will suggest that it's never about religion gone wrong. It's about 2 people who met, who were lustful, who were greedy, and had murder in their minds. And why do I say this? Because they used the religion to influence. Let's use Melanie Gibb. We have seen many interviews with Melanie Gibb, and they've been long. The interviews haven't been just short 10, 15 minutes. They've been, hours worth of interviews with Melanie Gibb. And we see that her religious thinking has brought this case to where it is, because I think they have used the people around them who were highly devoted religious people and used the religion against them. It wasn't that the religion was guiding them an indirect way. It was they were guiding their so-called, let's call them their followers. Let's say that Melanie Gibb and others that belong to preparing a people. Because as if we heard on the preliminary hearing, I believe it was on Tuesday the 4th, that preparing the people is primarily based with people who are LDS faith. So what does that tell us? If you have some people who have devout faith, whether it's LDS, whether it's Catholic, and then you take their faith-based personalities and spirituality and you twist it to make it sound like they're still following their faith, but really they're being taken off the faithful path. They're deviating from what the mainstream church demonstrates, that is loving religion. So that's where we've been confused all along. We've been trying to blame this on the Mormons. We've been trying to blame this on, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, their other name. But is this really about religion, or is this about masterminds in a religion who have twisted some of their followers? When I say followers, because they were doing these podcasts, because Chad was an author, of course he would have had some followers. So that's why I'm using the term followers with Chad Daybell and Lori. I know that Lori did not have the following that Chad had, but it was pretty close to the same destructive belief system in Lori that melded the two together to create what we have here today. We're just picking up all the rubble. What they have done is caused a lot of serious injury and left behind trauma and rubble. There's so many people affected by what the Daybell cult, if that's what you want to call them. I want to call them a gang. The Daybell gang. The Daybell people who thought they were going to turn heads and have them start marching to a tune that wasn't the LDS, religion. It was a different. It was a tune that had a dark side to it, and you can tell that by Chad's writings. I know that Melanie Gibb blamed that whole rubric on Charles. Melanie Pawlowski. There was that rubric that Chad had written, and he had given the light and dark status to all of Lori's family and friends, I would assume, because some of them weren't her family. Some of them were, I guess you could call them extended family or something like that. But Chad had written that rubric and had given each one a different statistic in the family. And Melanie Pawlowski, in her glorified way, because there's no question in my mind from day one that she's been part of the gang, that she tried to twist it on, I think it was Dateline. I could be wrong, but I think it was one of those shows, Dateline or 48 Hours or something like that. Maybe East Idaho News with Nate Eaton. But she inferred that it was Charles that had the rubric. And Charles Vallow had brought it over to her house when she was living with Brandon Boudreau and her 4 children. This was way before she abandoned her children and moved 2 states over to be with her aunt. Right before the murders of Tammy Daybell. She was there right after the murders of JJ and Tylee. She knew those kids weren't around. She never saw Tylee, of course, even though her auntie Summer was saying that she had texted with Tylee, and then her grandmother, Janice Cox, was saying that she had actually talked to JJ. Even though the Cox set it up, that yes, they were in contact with the 2 children. But anyways, Melanie Pawlowski inferred in one of those news shows that it was Charles who had the rubric. And it was a lot of nonsense that he was making from the rubric. But let's not have Melanie Pawlowski do what she does best. She reverse psychology's everything. I've talked about this for 6 weeks. What have I always said since my first video? That whatever they do, they put on you. And that's called reverse psychology. So if they just robbed a bank, believe me, you'll be feeling like you robbed the bank, because they are so smooth. They are so talented and glib that they will make you feel like you went into the bank, that you opened the vault. This is called reverse psychology, and it's a mixture of gaslighting. And gaslighting is making you believe what your common sense would tell you is not true. It came from that old movie, Gaslight. Ingrid Bergman played in it. And her husband wanted to get rid of her. He wanted her to get institutionalized from being mentally ill. So what he was doing was going, in those days, they had gas lights in the basement. They were controlled. So there was a valve in the basement. So she'd be up in her bedroom at night and the light would go off and on, but she didn't turn it off and on. He was supposedly out of the house, so he wasn't doing it because he wasn't home. So she ended up being petrified because she didn't understand why she kept seeing the light dim down, go off, dim back up, and go on. This went on for nights and nights. And he would walk into the room, the nasty husband, the Lori, Chad, and Melanie husband, because this is what these people are made of. He would walk back into her bedroom and he'd say, "What's wrong, dear? I'm such a loving person. I love you to death and you look frightened." And she'd say, "The light again. The light, it's been going off and off, on and off. It's been dimming. It's been going pitch black." And he goes, "No, honey." And he'd put his hand over her forehead and he'd rub her forehead in this loving, nurturing way and say, "Oh, dear, it's just you. No, there's nothing wrong with the lights, dear. Oh, we'll have you checked out. Oh, I'm awfully sorry you're going through this." He did this masterfully, and I mean masterfully. It was day in and day out, and there were other instances of gaslighting. So you get the image. The image is when you get gaslighted, there is something that is in someone else's control. They're making you feel that it's in your mind, that there's no nefarious thing outside making this happen. So this is what Lori and Chad and Melanie Pulowski, and I'm going to add Summer Schiffler in this. They're masterminds of gaslighting. They turn the gas down. They dim the situation. "Oh, no, there's nothing wrong." You heard that in the conversation with Melanie Gibb and Lori, when Melanie Gibb called Lori and was pretty much telling Lori that, she's been with the devil. She's been doing the devil's work in that 26-minute conversation that was recorded by Gibb and played in court as evidence. You can hear that Lori was trying to use this technique on Gibb. You can see that she was trying to blame Gibb, that it was Gibb's thinking that has gone awry. It's not Lori's thinking, it's Gibb's thinking. Lori was trying to convince Gibb that she's strayed away from scripture and religion and that she's joined in with the dark people. All of those techniques that Lori was using is what any mastermind uses, whether it's a mastermind of a corporate enterprise that is doing illegal activity or in a family. Let's use this for an example. I'll use this. This is a very good example, and it happens in very deviant families. See, you can be a young woman and you can be attractive, bright, and on your way to a magical life because you're young and you have that, hey, I'm going to take this world and I'm going to use it to the best of my ability. Suck this beautiful world right in because I'm young and I got a lot of energy and I'm very positive that I can add to this world. So you have this vinegar in you that's on fire when you're a good young adult. And then you can have, let's use this as an example. You can have a sibling. You can have a sibling that's into destruction. Let's use Lori. We'll call her Lori. That sibling looks at you and she sees that you have goodness in your heart. She sees that you want to take the world and help people and make people grow and get better. You don't want to encapsulate them into a dogmatic lifestyle. You want them to be on fire, just like you, because you see the wealth. You feel the wealth. It's not wealth from money. It's not wealth from fancy cars. It's the wealth of just having the energy that you love people and you love the world. Now, this is innate. This isn't something that anyone can teach someone to have. But what they can do is guide them to that place. They can make a roadway. They can put the underlayments of a roadway underneath the person to actually make sure that the person has a roadway towards that beautiful life. But now go back to Lori, the sister. So you got this sister that's loving and kind, and then you got this other sister who's deviant. Her name is Lori. Lori decides to go out with you one night and your boyfriend. You just have a new fella in your life. You've been hanging out together. And Lori goes out with you and your boyfriend. And you go home that night because you want to go skiing at 5 a.m. in the morning. So you want to be home real early so that you can get up and be in good shape to, take on the mountains, especially icy mountains. So you're up. You go home very early. You leave your new fellow with your girlfriend, with your sister, Lori. About 2, 3 in the morning, you wake up. Your sister's not home, and you get worried. You start calling around. You go, "Geez, where's my sister?" You call and call. No one knows what happened to her. You were with a big group of people out having a good time like all young people do. So you call your new fellow, your new friend, and you say to him, hey, on the message, you can't reach him, but on the hey, are you there? Where's my sister? Hey, what happened to my sister? It's 2, 3 in the morning. She's not home. I'm worried. 5 o'clock comes. Your sister's still not back home. And you say to yourself, wow, this is dangerous. What happened to her? You're feeling extremely responsible because you brought your sister out. You bring her with all your friends, but you scoot out early. And now your sister's missing. So you start checking. You call everyone you can think of. No one's seen her. So your boyfriend hasn't answered that answering machine. It's 5 o'clock-ish in the morning. So you said to yourself, geez, I'm going to go over to his house. It's sub-zero temperatures. It's cold. It's 5 o'clock in the morning in the north. And then it's cold. You're standing banging and banging outside of his house. To no avail, no one comes to the door. And you say, there's something extremely serious. His car's here. He had taken it last night, so you know he came home, or you hope he came home. So you're banging and banging on that door. Your hands are just bruising up. They're just feeling the pain because the wind's real strong and you're freezing to death standing outside of his door. And he comes to the door. And I say, "Where is my sister?" And he says, "Oh, she's in the bedroom." So you run into the bedroom. She's sleeping. You start shaking her. "Wake up, wake up. What's going on? Why didn't you come home?" She woke up. She's in his bed, nude. All the clothes you had lent her the night before strewn all over the house. There's, her bra, your skirt that you lent her, your earrings are up on the dresser that you lent her. All your clothes are all over the place. So what happens from that day on? What do you think happens from that day on? I'm trying to give you an example of Lori. Now, her name is Lori. The bad sister, let's call her, is Lori. She's in bed with your guy friend. Okay, naked. We can assume anything, and we don't care to know further, because neither one of them are any good. But let's put it this way. What is going to happen to the other sister for the rest of her life? Is that bad sister going to make what she did to her good sister, the one that had vitality for people, love for people? Is that bad sister going to make it hard for the good sister? Is she going to tell people the opposite? Is she going to spread around town that the good sister's kind of promiscuous? That she kind of, gets around town? Is she going to, is she going to use any time in her life to blame all of the things the bad sister did on the good sister? Is this what the good sister is going to have to put up with for the rest of her living life? Is she going to be the fall girl so that the bad sister can appear noble? She can appear as pure, just like Lori Daybell. The point is these people use monstrous ways of bringing another down who are near to them. You can hear it in Lori, the real Lori's talk. You can hear her telling Gib that she's gone into the dark place with dark people. You can tell her reverse psychology, everything that's going on. She is working Melanie, but Melanie doesn't buy into it anymore. Melanie saw that woman in bed, naked, with her boyfriend. So Melanie isn't going to buy into, hey, this righteousness, this purity that you're claiming you have, And we're not going to even speak that both the Loris, the Lori that slept with the other sister's boyfriend, and the Lori that we know of today, that's the monster killer of her children, that they're both married. And not only were they both married, they both had boyfriends. So they were doing everything that would mean it's a mistake. But they are so rude and so fixed on being godlike, whether it's a religion component or that's just their personality, that they have to just be righteous and godlike. So that's my story about what happened to Melanie Gibb. Melanie Gibb caught Lori in the act. Melanie Gibb tried to the best way that she knew how, and she did a beautiful job, in my opinion. She tried to tell Lori, you're done. Your story's done. You're not going to be walking with Chad in front of me anymore in the BYU sports arena. You're not going to be walking, kissing him and holding his hand. I'm on to you. You're breaking up a family. You're shunning your kids because she sees that she's there at the condo and she sees Lori shunning JJ. She hasn't seen Tylee. But as you well heard, instead of embracing Tylee like all teenagers, I don't care if you're out hot wiring cars at night with your pals and you're a teenager, you still need embracing. You still need someone to reel you back in. You know, it's the parent's job. It's the network of people that the parent allows in their house to rein in those people. So that is my story about Melanie Gibb. She met the Lori that wasn't the Lori that she thought. And she was trying to get out of it. And it was much more serious than Lori just being caught sleeping with her boyfriend. It was Lori was being caught with the idea that there was missing kids, that Tammy Daybell wasn't around. Charles had been murdered. So Melanie Gibb was having to digest all of this. But with that, Melanie hadn't known Lori that long to have the loyalty of friendship. You know, how long is a few months? That's crazy, in my opinion. My opinion is, who cares if you're with a person for 6 months or so? It's still not enough time to learn their trust. You know what I mean? Sorry about that. I'm trying to see if there's it is godlike as long as you're cheating with a godlike person. Yes, Georgie. Hello, everybody. I just got you on chat. Hello from Wales. Hi, Mary. Hi, Sonic. Hi, human animal. I'm going to read what Human Animal writes here. It's so unpleasant and it kills your esteem. I think mine was very low at the time, which allowed it, along with other stuff from more than one person at the time, too. It opened my eyes, though. I think Human Animal is, I haven't read above, but I would assume something painful that she had to go through. Hi, Zulega. Hi, Mandy. Hi, Donna. Hi, everyone that's been online. Listen to me. This was my morning talk. My morning talk is beware of reverse psychology. Beware of people who take the goodness from you and instill in you in so many ways that you're bad. And that's what I see that Lori had the gift to do. Yes, it was an evil gift, but that's what she did, is she turned the picture around. I was absorbed, Graham. Does she have 5 children, Georgie? No, she had. You talking about Lori? Did Maureen? Are you talking about Lori? Lori. Charles had 2 children, 2 boys from a previous marriage. They had 2 children under their house, Tylee and JJ, and then of course there was Colby. So if you're talking about Lori. Yes, to spread that darkness, and you got to watch out for those people. And talking about that, I really didn't get into that. I just wanted to explain that for 6 to 8 weeks now, I've been talking about the reverse psychology effects, the gaslighting techniques, how people gaslight each other. They make you think you see something that isn't there, and it could be the good. And then they can make you think that you see something that's bad. So they can mess with you so bad because you're seeing good in that person, but that good isn't there. Then you're seeing bad in yourself because you're going, I'm losing my mind here. They really are twisters. They do reverse psychology. And so with that said, obviously you can use this in any walk of life. There has been people that are only in your life to pull you down. See, we can like people and then we cannot like people, but we still don't want to pull the people that we don't like down. You know what I mean? It's when these people really don't like someone. Like Lori never liked Melanie Gibb. Melanie Gibb was too good for her. She didn't like her, but she found the usefulness of her. I've heard 3 children, Georgie, but that could be wrong. It could be 4. I've heard that Melanie Gibb has 3 children. Corrine, there's a long list of people called to testify at Lori's hearing. Yes, against Lori, correct, Corrine? You're talking people for the prosecution, witnesses for the prosecution? Because I would doubt there's a long list on witness for the defense. That's my opinion. Yes, human animal. That's the very concise way to put it. She says Melanie helped legitimize Lori in their group. Yes, yes. By Lori hanging out with someone who has a pure nature, because Melanie does, even though she makes big mistakes. And you can see it. She has a purer nature than Lori could ever have. Yeah. Don't forget, Lori was flirting with Colby in front of Colby's wife. Think about what reverse psychology that's really threatening to the wife. That kind, meaning in a very deep psychological way. That's a very threatening move from Lori to say that you are not part of my family. She was giving her all the indications that she is not one of them by doing that flirting. And that's why they do the flirting. And that's why their body shape and form is so important to them. They use their sexuality as a tool. It isn't just that they were born natural with a good physique and a pretty face. That is their tool. And they use it to F with people. Yeah, Lori's preliminary hearing is the 10th and 11th, which I think that's Monday and Tuesday of next week. YouTube channel JCS does a deep look at Casey Anthony, and it's so eerie how much Lori and Casey are like narcissists and sociopaths. Yeah. See, if Casey was as old as Lori, you could see the refinement in her in her behaviors, in her bad behaviors. I mean, Lori's a pro at 45 to 47 years old. I mean, we've known her, she just turned 47. We've known of her now for a year. No, less than a year we've known of her, but we've known of her actions for the last 2 years. So from her actions from when she was 45 to 47 have been heavily fine-tuned to hide who she is. Oh, human animal. Yeah, have that, please have that looked at immediately. Like, I mean, not today, but immediately. Yeah, immediately. Don't waste. Make that as soon as you can call your practitioner, call. So has Brandon and Melanie P and her husband? Yeah. Oh, good. Good. Oh, good. Send us what they think when you get the results. I know that they'll have to probably, if it's just fluid, then they could just aspirate it, or just tell you to take things like not drink coffee and caffeine and things that help fluid cysts. Thank you, Laura. Oh, you did catch me? Oh, it was Laura was kind of deep. I don't know how I went there. Uh, as deep as Lori goes into her darkness, I go into my storytelling. I don't know what veered me on that path, but I went on a path of storytelling. But I really wanted to give you an essence of how deviant they are. And that woman who slept with her sister's boyfriend, I'll tell you the end of that story. I know it like the back of my hand. The sister spent her whole life damning the other sister. So the so called good sister spent her whole life being ostracized and talked about in bad light, even though that sister was doing all kinds of good things in life. She was helping people who were the downtrodden. So every time the sister helped a downtrodden person, she would have to do something, the bad sister would have to do something evil to the good sister to put her in her place. So this was a lifelong pattern. And it was gaslighting, just like the man gaslighted his wife from the cellar, shutting off those valves to the lights. The sister would gaslight not only the good sister, but everybody else in their life to make herself look like she was pure, but really there wasn't anything pure in her heart. She's as ugly as I speak of. She's as ugly, if not more, than Lori. Because, see, Lori's been caught and exposed now. This woman was never caught and exposed. Lori is who we are seeing. Oh, good. Oh, I missed it, Hurricane Holly. I was trying to set up everything outside and I missed the pink U's that were, in a little bit of red that was in the sunrise. Yes. Yeah. See, I think I don't want to pat myself on the shoulders, but um, I'll pat myself on one shoulder, not two. But I was saying all along she was dismembered. And the reason she was dismembered, if you go back to my past videos, is because they didn't understand, like most people, how hard it is to burn. And I had talked to an engineer about this, about way back when we found out, when they unearthed the bodies and they found out that Tylee had been, burnt and trying to hide the evidence. And if you remember, didn't I tell you, and if you haven't heard the story, that my girlfriend had been murdered here in Florida in the mid 80s? And that's why I came down here originally, was to testify so that her murderer does not get out on parole. And he had done the same to Brenda. He had put an accelerant on her. He had used he had a gallon of alcohol. I can't remember if it was vodka or something similar. And he had poured the vodka on her, and he had set her body aflame. He did that because he wanted to erase any DNA or any fingerprints or any kind of a semblance of evidence. So he was trying to destroy her. But what he didn't realize, it's so hard when your body's over 60% water. Think of trying to burn a sopping wet rag. You can't do it. You have to maintain a fire so great in heat. So what these people did, this is all my opinion, I got videos on it from back then. You can hear me tell you that they were stupid. They were trying to burn her body whole in these magnificent big bonfires that they were building. And then they realized it would not burn. So then that's when, in my opinion, that they had to, dismember her. So when they went into that shed and they came back with metal objects, obviously it had to have been the search for the instruments that might have dismembered her, and or the accelerants that they can tell by the chemical compounds that are left behind after a burning. The accelerants leave a certain chemical compound, and they can tell by those residual compounds what the accelerant was to help burn the body, because you cannot burn a human body without using an accelerant. And as they found out through Tylee, that the job was too hard, too painstakingly long. So I just think they gave up by the time JJ. And so when they killed Tylee, they realized that they couldn't get the job done and distinguish or extinguish all of her flesh and bones. So when JJ came along, they had given up. That's my opinion, that it was so arduous for them to try to burn Tylee, and they hadn't even finished. That by the time JJ a few weeks later came around. But I am also in the opinion, and it's only my simpleton opinion, and I'm saying simpleton because I have no background in this. But my opinion is they started those fires in the fall after Tammy died, because that's when they were burning Tylee. I believe that they burnt the day that Chad buried Tylee, that he burnt any evidence that he could burn. I don't think the day that Tylee was buried on his property in the pet cemetery, I do not think he was trying to burn Tylee. I think when he wrote Tammy and said, I just shot a raccoon and I'm lighting a fire to get rid of the tree debris, I think he was only hiding and burning evidence at that point. But I think it was after Tammy had died or been killed, as we all believe she has been, is when he decided to unearth her and to start dismembering her. But the dismemberment, I believe, would have happened after he tried to burn her whole. I don't think he would have dismembered her first. I think he would have tried to burn her entire body and then realized he couldn't do it. And then bits by bits burn pieces of her. He's evil. I hate to talk about my ideas. He's evil. Right in the yard, Jen. Right in his property. When Tammy died, there is reports from the neighbors that there was many bonfires in the fall after Tammy's death. They don't talk about any before Tammy's death. So that's why I think he wrote Tammy on September 9th and said to Tammy, I found a raccoon, I shot it, and I buried it in Pet Cemetery, and I'm burning brush. I think he was saying that because he was covering evidence. That was more about burning whatever it might have been. Maybe it was pieces of something Tylee had been wearing, or the maybe a rope that they bound her with, or whatever. He was, that day, I believe he was burning evidence. It was thereafter that I believe that when Tammy was dead, when the neighbors reported after Tammy's death, there was many very huge bonfires. Yes, Tina, Chad smirked quite a lot, and I feel there's more evidence on the property, and by his demeanor, he is showing that. Surprised Tammy wasn't moved to their yard. I know, huh? That is, yeah, you're right. Oh, she's, Tina, Chad said in that phone recorded call with Gib and Lori that Tammy has a lot of work to do. She's up there working. What a sick man. Makes her work her butt off here. Right there in one of those sheds, or maybe just, Jen, maybe just right in the backyard, in the cover and of between the house and the shed. Like maybe right out in the open. Because mind you, if she had been buried September 9th in the backyard in the pet cemetery, Tammy died October 19th. Those bonfires, those huge bonfires, weren't spotted until after that. So you got to take into consideration that there was her body had become supple in the sense that it was starting to erode on its own. So he could have done it right out in the open. I don't know, Jen, if anyone would have seen that, because I don't know, like, who comes to the house. I don't know about his children. I really don't. I have no clue. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud anyways. I have no idea. But the only thing I can say, and I've heard others say, that they think he tried to burn her that day that they killed her, September 9th. I don't think so. I think they burnt any evidence that would have lent evidence towards them. You're typing out loud. I like that. I'm thinking out loud and Jen's typing out loud. Yeah. Yeah, the green bucket, the plastic bucket. And that's another thing. Plastic isn't the best thing to burn either. It makes that real egregious, gross smelling smoke. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm at a point, guys, and I don't want to cast anything on a potential victim. But when Chad Daybell's lawyer said it's not right for the family not to be able to watch the prelim, then it changed my mind if any of his family members are still in full support. And it has changed my mind to think of who's involved expressly with the cover-up. I'm not going to say I'm thinking that maybe any of his kids were involved in the murder, but have they taken part in any way, knowingly or unknowingly, with the cover-up? So let me go back, because I talk so much I can't read your Oh, Corrine, I thought that Chad's preliminary hearing should have gone after Lori's. I thought it should have been the other way around. Or maybe there is something that the state has for evidence that is linked expressly to Lori, that the state would have preferred Lori up to bat second. There could be a piece of evidence in Lori's case that the state wants to hold back from us and obviously the other players in the court system. But so let's see what happens Monday and Tuesday when Lori's up to bat. We might hear something we didn't hear in Chad's preliminary hearing. So that could be a reason why he went up first. Intuitively, I was thinking it should have been the other way around, because in my mind, Mark Means got law school for the first time on Monday and Tuesday, because I will shoot like it is. That attorney that Chad Daybell is an attorney. He is considered, in my opinion, bulldogish. If I was innocent, if I was Chad Daybell and I was innocent, I'd want that attorney representing me. He did his job and then some. So no, I don't have the same sentiment for Mark Means. But I think Mark Means is going to learn a lot from... I feel that Mark Means is going to learn a lot being second up to bat from Pryor. So yes, I had no qualms in anything. I didn't even have any qualms on how much he shook up Gibb, because that's his job, to rattle her. His job is to make her true colors come out. And the only thing he did, in my opinion, is he got to show that she does have a little strength to her character. That's a good thing. And he also got to show that she rattles. And that's a good thing. The judge got to see that this woman isn't a long-term player. That she will only stand up so long, and then she falters. And that's what Melanie Gibb showed me on Monday and obviously Tuesday when she was being cross-examined. She showed that she falters, and that's a good thing. That means she's not seasoned and schooled. So she came out more credible. Yeah. Claudia says, so glad Chad is a dummy in love. I know, huh? I think law enforcement has a lot of evidence that they haven't revealed. We'll have to wait for the proper trials before we have all, yes, Mary, until all the details come out. Good morning, Venus. Chad gave himself away. I would have played stupid and asked Lori why they were digging on my. I know, huh? Yeah, Brenda, I did the short video yesterday on consciousness of guilt. And that's what it is, consciousness of guilt. By him not reacting the right way, by him not calling Lori and saying, Lori, those jerks are here again digging up my property. They know the kids aren't here. They know that we didn't have anything to do with this. And here they are digging up. I laid that fresh sod down, over by the pond, and now they're destroying it. And if he acted anyway, but he acted like, we're done, Lori. It's over. Lori, no, they're not looking and seizing things from the house, Lori. Nope, they're searching the property. Nope, you'll be getting a call from Mark Means. How many of you guessed that Mark Means knows that those kids were buried in that backyard? Boy, is that sun bright. I'm turning this a little so. Yeah, Georgie. He knew. He knew. Often the police keep information to themselves for a reason. Yep. Defeat. He was defeated. He was defeated from day one. Yeah. Yes, Brenda, I think so. I think he knew. They can tell. They can tell their lawyers that. They can tell their lawyers. Who doesn't want to break rules, Donna? Chad on talking to Lori. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, she knew they were done. You could hear her tone too. She knew they were done. When he ever said they're searching the property and you're gonna get a call from Mark Means and that they got a search warrant for the kids. That he was done. She knew he was done. And she's like, oh, okay. I live in substandard housing in Fremont County, and so therefore you can be living in substandard housing in the other county. Okay, Chad. Okay. Yeah. No, he can pick Venus, but he can pick and choose his gruffness. Pryor can pick and choose. We haven't seen him where he's got to be gentler. This was in front of one judge that had to find a low bar of probable cause, and he knew that. So he had to fight like crazy. So when it's a low bar, a low standard, like probable cause, preponderance of the evidence, it puts the defense on the defense. I mean, the state just told a story. The defense had to be really on the defense. Now, in the regular court, what we're going to be seeing, it's going to be the other way around. Then the state's going to have to toe that bar, like make that bar, that standard of beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's a much higher bar for the state. So the state had it easy during this part because the bar was so low. But the defense had to try to win. And I know he knew he couldn't. Yeah, yeah, I agree. An overbearing mother, Laura. Sweet surrender. Oh my God. His laugh is so, when he smiles, I took a picture, guys, of him, from the video. And to me, it was just the devil. I hate to say that. It was like my camera should have broke on my phone. Yes, Brenda, he's a creepy, creepy, creepy guy. What can I do for you? You want me to pray? Yeah, huh, Laura? What can I do for you, Chad? You want me to pray? Who? Pray to who? They're not religious. They're not religious. And that's what I was talking about yesterday. If any of you saw my video, Consciousness of Guilt, when they don't say things that others would say, like in that telephone call. He should have said, Lori, they're here with a search warrant saying they're looking for the kids' bodies. Because that's the search warrant would have had that type of information. We're going to be unearthing your land, your property, looking for bodies. The search warrant would have had some, you know, language. I don't know what the search warrant had. Has anyone seen it or heard about it from others? What the search warrant had? Yeah, but it just shows Venus how if you live a good life, you don't get ugly as you age because see people see your spirit right through your skin, through your flesh. You don't get ugly as you age. It's the ones that are evil. Hi Argentina. Hi Karina. So glad you're here. If you missed the first part, I think I was in an Alfred Hitchcock story. People said they were somewhat really listening to what I was saying about when Lori grabs a hold of her victims and gaslights them and does reverse psychology. I've been talking about anything that Lori does, she has always blamed on the other person. They've always said this: if your husband or your wife is accusing you of cheating, that's the first sign that they might be cheating. They always have said to look at the other person, watch their words because they're spilling out truths about themselves. It's not a fact. It's not a sure thing, but it's the reverse psychology. I know, Claudia, she called her a devil. Yeah, Tina, is she gonna, with those pom poms? Is she gonna be wearing her beauty queen outfit? Is she gonna strut in like she's on the catwalk? The id, yeah. Maureen talks about the id. They only live in id. I want, I want, I want. See, when people do that, when they live in an id state and they don't develop a super ego, they skip over an ego and don't ever develop a super ego, and then that's what happens. They want, and they want. And the id, like Maureen has suggested, not just this time, she's suggested this before, that when they live in id, as Freud called it, um, they deserve it. They deserve everything. That's what Melanie Gibb had said. She doesn't have any patience. You know why she doesn't have it? Why Lori doesn't have any patience? Because she deserves it. Because when you live in id, you want, and you want. And that's exactly where, yeah, the super ego combines everything. So you level out. It's not just you in the world. You see everybody else. Right, Maureen? Chad is a drip. His anima coveted. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Money hungry. Yes. Yes, Gigi. Yes. There's the conversion where you take in all accounts and that everyone matters. And that's, again, with that story with the two sisters. See, the sister was living in it at the moment. But what she did wrong is never throughout her life integrate the feelings in how she had treated the other sister. So because she still lived in id, the only thing she could do is tear the other sister down. And that's how she lived her life, tearing the other sister down. And when you live life like that, you live alone. Because I'm going to tell you, the other sister has never wanted anything to do with her. She's, during family functions, she has just evaded her. Oh, yeah, Lori's voice goes up an octave when talking to Chad. Much different tone when she's talking to Melanie G about Kay's supposed threats to her and her children. Yeah, suppose is right. Supposed threats. She wanted to know where her grandson was. And there's the reverse psychology. You just did it again. You just labeled it. It's because Lori was in trouble. They had killed the kids. Kay was putting the pressure on. Where are the kids? Where are the kids? Where are the kids? So Lori reversed it. Kay is an evil person. Kay's trying to kidnap them. Kay's trying to take them from me. Kay's trying to do something evil to them. There's a prime example how Lori has lived her entire life. This is not the first time that she has used that mode of operation to bluff the person she's trying to bluff. And that's what it's all about. Yes, the insurance. Oh, that was so good during Claudia. That was so good during the police cam when they went to Lori's house in November looking for JJ, and that's all she talked about was how she was a mother, and then how her voice got then. It got really strange. Her voice got very, very. Go back, guys. I wish I had the knowledge and the capability to play things, but you should go back and listen to how her voice changes when she's talking about how they shortchanged her. And she's not saying shortchanged her, like hugely changed. In other words, when she didn't get that $1 million, her life was done. That's how she made it sound. Yes, I know, Mary. Charles kept Lori in the lap of luxury. I would have been the best wife in the world for a man who kept me like that. Of course. Of course. She could have anything she wanted. You know what? You know what surprised me? They didn't, I don't know if they owned property. That's what was surprising me. Claudia says, I've been listening over and over because you can tell a lot. They both were different vocally than I imagined. Yeah, yeah. I'll be honest with you, Claudia. That's a point that I don't match Chad's voice with his looks. Do you? Like Chad's voice does not match his looks. It's like, is the devil's voice coming? It What does he have? The devil's voice and a human's looks? Or does he have the devil's looks and a human's voice? I don't get it, but there's something that doesn't come together. Homer. Yeah. She wanted her kids dead. She couldn't stand Tylee. That's evident. That's evident. And she fostered that belief amongst everybody. That's why the defense attorney was asking Gibb, hey, you didn't care for Tylee, did you? Well, I'm going to share with you. If Gibb did not care for Tylee, it was because Lori was inundating everybody that Tylee was bad, that Tylee was the most incorrigible person ever. So she was inundating um, these people to have those poor thoughts of Tylee because the jealousy was reeking. And I'm not just saying this, but when you're that narcissistic and beauty and exercise and all that is like the most important thing to you, then that girl, Tylee, was going to be stunningly beautiful. My opinion, Lori was pretty, but Tylee was going to be stunningly beautiful as a grown adult. She was going to be the real beauty queen. And Lori wouldn't have been able to stand that. Yes, Claudia. She also saw her mother as who she was. She's like all teenagers. If you want to know every bad part of yourself, just sit around and listen to a teenager. They'll let you know. Yes, teenagers always, are on the mark. Oh, yes, Mad Jack, you're right on it. Mad Jack says if Lori had given JJ to Kay, the Kay would have made sure, or some way or another, Lori would have lost the money that she was receiving monthly, $6,000 a month to pay for their rent and food and recreation in Hawaii. You know, they were living they were living for zero. They didn't have to put in their own money. They just lived off the kids' money. So no, she couldn't give JJ back to Kate because somehow the state might have found out and stopped the money towards Lori. Yes, Marie Smith. I think so too. Tylee did know that Charles was set up. And that's why I always say this. I'm very curious on what's going to happen with um, Zach Cox, Lori's nephew from Adam Cox. You heard that she said in that police cam again in Rexburg when they came in November looking for JJ for the welfare check that Adam was trying to kill her. Remember? You know what that meant? Remember what I said this morning? Listen to their words. That means she was trying to kill Adam. Adam was not trying to kill Lori, you know that. It was Lori had it in her mind to kill Adam because Adam was a thorn to her. And Zach Cox, he's Adam's son, lived at Lori and Charles's and saw, what was going on. So what I'm saying is when she told the Rexburg police, and my own brother hates me and is trying to kill me, that was saying I hate him and I'm trying to kill him. This is how bad the gaslighting and the reverse psychology gets. It's always reverse of what they're saying. So if she is frightened, it's not her fright, it's Adam's fright, because Adam is a mocked man. I am sure she was trying to tell Alex that his brother was Doc as well, and that his brother had to go because she did not like Adam. And why didn't she like Adam? Because Adam was listening to Charles. Adam wasn't like Summer Shitlet, believing what Lori said to her, believing the reverse psychology. Adam was believing Charles. So that's why Adam, reverse psychology, was trying to kill Lori when it was really Lori wanted her own brother dead. And that is why someone must have killed Alex. Because as everyone knows, they wanted Alex out of the picture after he did help them with all of their nasty deeds. Yeah, they're disgusting human beings. Yes, Maureen, anyone against them were wiped out. Same as it always has been, Karina. I never thought Melanie Gibb had much of a constitution. I am sad to say that sometimes you can take religion way too far, and I don't care if it's LDS or Orthodox or any religion, Catholicism, it doesn't matter. I think Melanie demonstrates that she lives in that world so much that she has a hard time integrating with the rest of the world that doesn't live as closely with religion. So my opinion of her is she did what she was supposed to do on that trial, in that preliminary hearing. She dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. Well, Gibb is got the boyfriend. You talking Melanie Gibb, Maureen Walsh, or are you talking someone else? Yes, human animal. I have no idea why they didn't do gunshot residue on all three of them, including Tylee, because you want to do the process of elimination. Why wouldn't they have done a gun check? I know that they could have gotten attorneys and shut up at that point, but that's the risk. Maybe they would have went along with it. Do you know what I think? I don't even think Alex was there. I think she shot him right when he came. This is my idea. It's a story. It's just a story. I think Lori shot Charles, ambushed him, shot him. And I think she called Alex and said, "Come over and help me get out of this." I think that's why it took so long for them to actually call 911. And that's why Alex didn't have any of the evidence of shooting or being in a fight with a bat, with a man with a bat. I think he was unscathed because of that. I think it was all Lori. That's my opinion. And if it wasn't Lori, then it could have been Chad being at Lori's. Maybe Chad was there. I haven't heard any evidence to suggest that it was impossible for him to be there. Like I haven't no information has been brought forward thus far to say that Chad was somewhere else when Charles got shot. So to me, it was either Lori, Chad and Lori, and then they called Alex to come over and cover, and that's why he was so clean. Yes, Venus. I would have ran away a long time before. No, Brenda says, I personally think Melanie didn't really know her. How conniving. Yes, Brenda, I believe she didn't know how conniving Lori really was. I think, no, how can you? You all, you all tell me, if you meet someone, even in person or online, and it's been 6 months, really, how well do you know that person? You're still at the phase, you're still in the honeymoon phase where you're showing your best image. You really haven't had time to let down all of your hair at this point. You know, their friendship hadn't had the test of time. They're crazy, Laura, if they didn't think. I know. Oh, no one's going to miss the kids. Well, Melanie Pulowski didn't. The, see, all these false reassurances. Melanie Pulowski didn't miss the kids. She knew they were dead. Who on this chat right now thinks Melanie Pulowski knew that those children were deceased? Yes or no? Did Melanie Pulowski know that those kids were deceased? Yep. All her mumble jumble crazy talk. Oh, the truth will come out. And it's like even when they appear and they're standing right in front of you, people won't even believe they're them. So does that mean, Ian, we don't believe when they're unearthed from the ground? Oh, Melanie Pulowski, evil be. How did these people? How did these women? We got a triangle here. We got Lori, the top of the triangle, and we got Summer Shitlet and Melanie Pulowski on the bottom. And the blood, the juices run from one angle to the next. Oh yeah. Oh, my Auntie Lori. Oh, yes, she's an amazing mother, and she had the rooms just perfectly set up. Oh, so perfect that the bed sheets were never used because the kids were dead, Melanie Pulowski, and that's why they were so perfect. I don't know, Jen. Does anyone know if Melanie Pulowski has had her baby? So this is where we're at. You can see that after this next preliminary hearing with Lori, and they're going to have something new. They're going to throw in new information, new evidence to jazz it up for Monday and Tuesday. The state's going to jazz it up. But considering considering that we can be assured that Lori has less charges, don't forget, than Chad. Chad had 4, Lori had 3. So, the evidence doesn't even have to be weighted as much as they were weighted for Chad. There are so many mothers in this world, and I hate to say it because I'm a woman's libus. So I'm, or at least I was. I hate to say it, but we've gone too far. We've gone too far. We have made women so angelic that we don't consider them any bit near what they can do. And I think Lori is going to teach the world, and Charles is going to teach the world about listening to men, just merely opening our ears to men. Yeah, they all should be institutionalized. As far as I'm concerned, they should be all in an institution. Not the same one, because they do the same conspiring. See, the problem with that is they get off on that links that they make when they link with other crazies. Oh my God. Why do you say that, Diana? Oh, you think she might harm her own kid? Is that your inference? Yes, Tina. Yes. Well, Charles bit off too much. He didn't understand what he was getting into. Yeah, so Charles was helping Lori to mastermind evil plans during her divorce or during her child custody cases with Joe. But if it wasn't Charles, it had been the other Charles, meaning whoever else she, noosed. I know. What do you mean? What rooms? What rooms with just a mattress on the floor? Is that what you're saying, Mad Jack? And she living like a princess. So when her prophet comes over, they could go into their palace bedroom together. Yeah, Laura, that was so good. Yeah. The only thing is can we be assured that the kids or the kid, I hope she's not having twins. Did I just make a big mistake by saying the kids? Is Pulowski having one child or twins or triplets? Chandler House pics from police cam footage. The kids' bedrooms were like a pigsty. Yeah, Maureen and the rest. Yeah, yeah. That's what happens with kids. But what got me is hers were completely furnished. She was outfitted. I would call her room a complete outfitted room. They had no furnishings. None. Like they were camping. because she knew she wasn't staying there that long. She was just there to kill Charles and then moving on to Rexburg. Let's see what's in that water there. See if we see. Hers looked immaculate. Yeah. Oh yeah, everything about her was immaculate. Her hair, her makeup, her clothing, everything about her. That's what makes you know that there's something gone wrong. If you're a real mother, you can't be that immaculate. If you're a real mother, you're dealing with the kids. You're doing things with the kids, and the kids' activities are becoming number one, and you let other things go behind. When you see immaculate without a housekeeper, you gotta wonder. Thank you, Donna. Bye, Georgie. Is that what you're saying, or is Donna leaving? I just love it. Laura says you can hear the money oozing out of her. That's all Lori talked about when the police came in those body cams. The money, the money, the money, the life insurance, the $1 million, the money. It is, I mean, when the jury hears those. Now, has anyone done a check? I was going to do it and I forgot. Has anyone on chat checked whether when Melanie Gibb called Lori and Chad, did she say she was in Utah? Does anyone recall that? Was she in Utah when she placed that call to Lori? Oh. So you think that's why 107 was empty? Alex had his clothes in 175. There was no furniture in 107. Okay, so D says that she thinks that they were that when Gibb placed that call to Lori in Chad, she was at David's in Utah. So has anyone found out if Utah has the right to talk on the phone and record? I know Maine. Maine is, as long as one person to the conversation knows that it's being recorded, you can record. It's a one party state, same thing. So as long as one party to the conversation knows that they're being recorded, they can record. Okay. And even if that was illegal, the standard is so low in the preponderance of the evidence. That standard is so low that it can be even hearsay. So that's why I was very surprised that the defense attorney kept saying, "Oh, that's hearsay," because hearsay is allowed in when it is under that bar, probable cause. Great. That's great. So it's a one party consent state in Utah. Great. But where were Lori and Chad at that time? Were they in Hawaii? That's what I couldn't figure that out. Was that call when, is that why Melanie said something like, "Are you coming back?" or something like that? Yeah, okay. So it also depends on their state law too. So it would have to depend on what the Hawaiian law is. So I'm glad that Utah's a one-party state. So to wrap this up, I'll just go on. So Lori, as I have said from day one, and you can go back and listen to my many videos that I've done on how Lori reverse psychologies everything, and that she's a major gaslighter. She draws you in because she tries to make you feel weak. Oh, don't you see that light's dimming? No, I don't see that that light is dimming. She plays those mind games with you. She's very much a mind game person. So that's why she got a hold of Melanie. As we all know, she's as supple as they can be. So between the reverse psychology, the gaslighting, and having Alex as her dutiful brother, this is why this went down so seriously. And then Chad thinking, that his head was as big as a prophet, having that kind of, I can't imagine. Think about this for a second, guys. Take a second, take a breath in and out, and say, I'm a prophet. Most of us can't even fathom having that bulging head, having that kind of arrogance. That is such an arrogant idea about who you are. I'm a prophet. So everything I say, believe me, God is talking to me.